Okay, I'm gonna call this meeting to order. Today's Thursday, March 28th, 6 p.m., our monthly HWR meeting. So, getting started, I'd like to have a motion to approve this agenda, please.
Motion to approve the agenda.
I have a motion to approve the agenda by Jackie Duncan.
I'll second.
Got a second by Mr. Miller. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes have it. Guys, we have a member that's gonna be here a little bit late. I dropped the ball on the minutes this past month, but she has some of the minutes, so we won't be able to approve the minutes from last month. 'Cause I didn't get to with the secretary today in time to get them printed, so we'll move on. And I'd like to have a motion to move number 6 in front of number 5 because of some, folks next door that need to be over in here. Could I get a motion to move 6 in front of 5?
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion by Tim Morris, have a second, Jackie Duncan. All in favor of doing that?
Aye.
Ayes have it, okay. So, anyone here in here have any public comments on anything? Being none, we'll move on to, previous 6, which would be new business, and I'd like to get that started with, I'd like to have, Ms. Farrell, you have a presentation you like to put on for us, please? Okay.
Sorry, I don't know a good spot to not be in front of somebody.
Sit on the wrong side. I thought I was doing the right thing, so I could look at everybody.
Got a mirror you want? Just sit there with the mirror. I'll move her over to the other side too. Hey, that's the way you put on there.
I don't see it. Oh, I don't suppose y'all have a remote to this, would you? Probably not.
Unless it's in the drawer.
Well, yeah, that's a good place to check, huh?
There you go.
Oh, okay.
Your batteries if you need them. There's a bunch of batteries.
Two, maybe?
Oh, that's what I was on. Oh, Pat, maybe I'll put the accordion on play. That would help. There we go.
All right.
Alright. So, I'm gonna just give you all a brief overview of some of our recreational needs right now in Coffee County. I am Elena Murray, previously Farrell, but I have just been involved in sports in various ways throughout the years, and it's something that is very near and dear to my heart, and it's something that has been brought to our attention that we are in need of some additional facilities, some support for that going forward. These are just some of the items we'll cover: growth, current state of our facilities, benefits, opportunities, and any additional benefits. I will show you some numbers, some rough estimated numbers as far as costs and things like that. I don't have concrete references for them. I have a lot of family construction. We've reached out to subcontractors, people that can give us rough estimates for these things, just to kind of give you an idea of the ballpark of what we're looking at, just for the purpose of this presentation. So just wanted to start with that. And some of the sports that I'm gonna mention briefly: Tullahoma Little League, Tullahoma Fast Pitch, Coffee County Fast Pitch, which is in Manchester, Manchester baseball, Manchester girls slow pitch, and Manchester youth football. Obviously, this doesn't include all of our sports here, but these are just some that I'm gonna speak on. So our fast pitch league, Coffee County Fast Pitch, has seen a growth of 48% in the past 2 years, with a 35% growth just from last year. Our slow pitch numbers remain over 300 participants year over year. Tullahoma baseball, or Tullahoma Little League baseball, has seen a 17% growth in the past 2 years. And then baseball and fast pitch, I couldn't get specific numbers. I've talked with them and they said they have seen growth. They just weren't able to give me any concrete numbers, so they did report growth. Football. We actually have what they call a football league here. However, they travel to other towns for games. All their practices that they have are either in the outfields of fields at the park, or they do have some games and practices at the Raider Academy. So that is a huge need, something that's been brought to my attention. I just talked to somebody yesterday when we were at the park for practice, and we were like, oh, are you playing softball again? He said, no, we're going to play football. And I said, oh, you're playing football. Where are you playing football? And they said, we're going to Winchester because there's no league here. So that just, I was like, okay, well, that's a big deal that there's nowhere for really kids to have football. There were 5 teams, as you can see here last year. That was of various ages. And the teams were large from the person I talked to with the league. And so a lot of participants were frustrated they weren't getting playing time because they didn't have, you can't really spread out and have multiple teams if you don't have anywhere to practice. So they have a lot of kids squeezed on a few teams. I'm going to give you the current state of our softball, baseball facilities in Manchester. I'm going to focus on those for this. I don't have specifics for Tullahoma. But as far as softball and baseball, we have 4 softball fields at Dave King Park, one of which has not had lights for 3 years. So we say we have 3 because you can't do a whole lot with the field no lights playing in the evenings. You can get sometimes 1 game on there. And then there are 2 of the fields there are really reserved for our younger divisions. You can't play really the oldest division on one of the fields, but the smallest field can only hold our 6U and 8U divisions, and that's basically it. We have 4 baseball fields at Fred Edmund Park. One of those also doesn't have working lights, which I know they're in the process of working on that. And then one of them they also have to share with Westwood Baseball. And then there's also an additional softball field at Fred Edmund Park. So if you put the numbers together just from the Manchester leagues and these facilities, we have about 1,000 kids on 9 fields. However, that's 7 current working fields. So you've got over 100 kids per field that you're trying to get into a season. What that's doing to us right now is we're having to decrease the number of games that each team is getting. We're having to potentially be told that we may have to cap our leagues because we don't have anywhere else to put any additional players, which is frustrating to say the least because we want every kid to have the opportunity to play sports, and especially league sports. There are opportunities for school sports. However, league sports are really that place that people that may not make a school sport or may not can afford to play a school sport can get into a league sport and have something to do that's recreational for them. As I mentioned before, there are no designated facilities for youth football. None other than they use the Raider Academies for some practices and games. So these are just, like I said, some rough ballpark estimates of what it would cost for potentially some fields. And this is specifically for softball and baseball. I really focused on that because that's where I could get the most information right now. I would like to get some additional information about football and what would be needed. But so an all-encompassing one field that includes lights, this is specifically for a dirt field. Bleachers, walkways, etc. would be $550,000. As you do more fields, then that price would decrease, so you can get, you don't have to include as much additional fees there. Concessions and bathroom building, about $60,000. Again, you can try to research some numbers on this. A lot of the numbers are outdated, and they've gotten outdated really quickly because of inflation. But these are pretty close. So a total for 4 fields, concessions, parking, everything, dirt fields, dirt and natural grass would be about 3 million. Turf fields would be about 7 million. Now, you may ask, why would I even talk about turf? That's over double what the dirt and natural grass would be. However, over time, maintenance on turf fields is much, much lower. Having to pay someone, labor to maintain these fields, the cost is decreased. The materials, the supplies it takes to maintain these fields is much lower. I actually have a study, which I don't have in connection to internet in here, but there's a study that I pulled up here that they showed over the course of 10 years that the cost per hour of a natural grass and dirt field is about $20 an hour higher over the span of 10 years because of the amount of maintenance and the decreased amount of time you can run these fields. So a turf field, you have many more weeks of the year that you can run them. The fields that we have here in town, we require them to rest, I think is the word they use. They rest the fields from November 1st to March 1st. So 5 months of the year that we cannot do anything on the fields whatsoever. No one can touch them, they're locked. Versus a turf field doesn't need that. They don't need any resting time. They don't need anything like that. So there are a lot of benefits to turf versus dirt, for sure. Oh, and I forgot that I had added that in there, but you can see. So overall, and again, this is a little bit outdated as far as the total cost of what a field would be. But your natural grass versus artificial turf, you can run it more weeks of the year and more hours per week. We have a lot of rainouts, with the fields like we have now, dirt and natural grass versus turf have much better drainage systems, not as likely to have rainouts and things like that, environmental issues. And then it says there at the bottom, maintenance costs for grass estimated $23,000 a year versus turf at $5,000 a year. So benefits, as far as benefits to the community, would be obviously revenue. First of which being the rental costs for fields. I have a unique perspective, and then I know a lot about how much it costs to rent fields in local areas. I researched several parks that are somewhat comparable to what we could be looking at based on our population and where our location, things like that. So your dirt, grass fields are typically about $100 a day, and turf you can rent out for $200 to $250. Most of what I've found now are $250 a day. Because of our location, this would increase revenue as far as hotels, gas, food. I mean, next to everything, as far as bringing in more people to even watch these tournaments. Any of you that maybe have dealt with travel sports before, it costs to watch your kids go play travel sports, but it's something that a lot of people are willing to do. So I think that would definitely be beneficial. Again, I don't have access to my internet at the moment, but Paducah, Kentucky has recently approved a project in McCracken County. Their population is 67,000. They have partnered with the city and the county and have created a county sports commission as well. And they have a project that has been approved for 8 turf fields, in addition to, I believe, some football fields. It may be more like a practice football field, but that is a very large project that I found very interesting. It's recently been approved in Paducah. There is another comparable park. I wouldn't say as far as size for what we would need. However, Dalton, Georgia is arguably quite a bit smaller than we are. They have 8 fields there. Yes, 8 fields. They have soccer fields and softball, baseball fields, so convertible for everything. And it is a very nice park as well. I'm not going to waste y'all's time on that because I don't have access to show you all these. And then there's also a dirt and natural grass complex that's relatively new in Columbia. I talked with the guy that runs that, and he has a wealth of knowledge about that and anything that we might need as far as assistance there. But they are very, very profitable. I know that they even had at this complex a Lady Vols fast pitch game, so they're a very nice new complex. Probably don't have to tell you any additional benefits, but I will. So obviously physical health for kids. I mean, we know that obesity is a problem in America specifically. So getting these kids out here and having them have an opportunity to play a sport somewhere, friendship, influence for good decisions. Again, opioid pandemic is another issue, and so giving these kids an outlet to do something that, you know, helps them make better decisions. And then a benefit for some and not all is preparation for school sports. I know that a lot in our community are, you know, advocates for that, for having leagues that are available to help kids learn, you know, the basics of sports in preparation for playing school sports later on. Briefly, I'll talk about the opportunities as far as what we could look at here. And I know that you all probably couldn't answer any questions I have about the land that was offered to us in 2013 by Sam McAllister, but you know, that was offered as an option for recreation and turned down due to the, you know, from what I've researched, concerns about the maintenance of it. And that's why turf was really something that I was looking at, because the maintenance would be significantly less than if we were to look at dirt and dirt and natural grass fields. I also have estimated, for specifically an example, for 300-foot baseball, softball convertible fields, so you could bring in like a temporary mound and have them be baseball or softball, you would need about 30 acres to comfortably do the 4 fields, parking, and a concessions and bathroom area. This doesn't really encompass the football side of it, again, because I haven't researched as much about the cost in that. But I know is another outdoor sport that is much needed. I don't know if these facilities could also be utilized for that. I know they can be used for soccer. We've played at the Dalton, Georgia complex, and they line their outfields with soccer field lines, and so they make those convertible as well. And then the last thing to mention is the Tennessee does have recreational grants available every year. They have a cycle which closes, I believe, in February. So they have this specific local Parks and Recreation Fund grant that is a 50% reimbursement for projects. You can see some of the specifics there they got from their website, but they include development of public recreation facilities, indoor and outdoor, renovation, rehab, and or land acquisition for the development of public recreation. And current inventory of land that has not been previously used for recreation can be used as the match for this. I know I talk fast, so here, let me go back.
Will you have a paper copy of this presentation?
I
or
don't
can
have
you?
one, but yeah, I can get one and email it, provide it that way. Would that work?
That'd be awesome, I
Yeah.
think.
So too.
I'll be happy to.
You're talking about something like 4 fields.
Mhm.
How much space do you need for parking?
I don't know specific, it would depend on the layout of the fields. That's what I've estimated 30 acres total for everything, and that would include parking. What we have, like for example, Dave King Park is 21 acres. That includes parking, concessions. However, 2 of those fields are too small for the younger ages. And actually, there's only 1 out of the 4 of those that are 300 foot. So we're looking at bigger fields to accommodate more people. So that's why I went with the 30 acres.
Is the new field, the one that you're talking about is for the older ones? The newest one on the right-hand side?
No, that is actually a smaller one.
Oh,
That's
wow.
one of these smaller ones.
Okay.
The newest field down there is one of these smaller fields.
Okay.
Yep.
And they don't have enough parking, so you would.
No,
21
no, they
acres,
don't, no, there's not enough
Yes.
parking down there the way
21
it's
acres
structured
is-
right now.
It's landlocked,
Mhm.
and it has a walkway around it too, Dwight.
Yeah,
So
Lena,
those fields are not expandable, though, they can't be.
The only one that I think would possibly be is the newest one.
Okay.
But I think that probably, that's just my speculation, why they didn't do that is because they use the behind it for parking.
Yes.
And so if you expand that at all,
Yes,
you
run
are
everybody out there.
greatly
Yes.
decreasing your parking even more.
Okay.
Lena, something I can tell you, we have a new grant writer here with the county, and he's been dabbing into this stuff a lot, and I've talked to him about some other things, but I'll put that on a list and I'll talk with him next week about it, and then maybe have you back, and we'll have him at the same time and see if we can get something in a grant going,
Absolutely.
possibly.
Can you go back to the map of the blue?
Yes.
What is
I don't
this
know.
that the state owns? Do you know?
I don't
This
have
is
my
down the
internet,
Woodbury
but that
Highway?
is just, it shows, so if you, I was just going
Oh,
on.
this may be the,
The I-24?
project.
Yep.
Might be.
okay, this is Old Stone. State Park, this is out by the lake, that's by the water tower. This would be wetlands because that's on the, out there that they talked, the May Prairie.
Okay.
And some of this is wetlands. This I don't know, but that has to be the mega site there. That's Old Stone. This is wetlands and protected, and I know this is wetlands right here because that's the May Prairie.
And this is specifically state-owned
Yes.
here.
And I was on the county commission when he did offer the land, and I know a lot of people were worried about the cost, cause we had to do it, and we had to do it within a year period. And it put everybody, it put constraints on trying to find the money, and at that time, we did not have
Right,
the
and
grant
that's
right.
hard, that much money is hard to find quickly, absolutely.
I think also, as the county grows and the rural area fills up, we're getting a lot of folks moving into the rural areas. We're gonna have to look at this down the line as, possibly doing something, because I think in our budget now, we give, correct me if I'm wrong, you may know, but I think we give like $1,500 a year to the city of Manchester, and I think $1,500 a year to Tullahoma. So, and I don't know what, maybe you can find this out. I don't know what the percentage of rural kids playing inside Tullahoma and inside Manchester are, but that'd be a good,
Yeah.
something we could look up to find out.
Yeah.
Down the road, we're gonna have to address this,
Yes,
And having tournaments here does bring a lot of people in.
it would,
If you have and I only can speak for fast pitch softball, but when 60 teams come into Cookville or Franklin, you're bringing 600 people that are dropping $800 to $1,200 a weekend.
Yes.
And it's your child, you're gonna stay at a
Yes.
hotel, you're gonna eat out, you're gonna eat at the concession stands, and you're gonna leave your taxes there.
what I know specifically about adults, I still play softball, I'll play this weekend, and Winchester Parks is booked every Saturday of the entire year. They book tournament, now, not December, but they book tournaments in January through November, the entire year, they're already booked for 2024. And those tournaments also, they bring so much money, but they'll play Friday nights, they'll play a Friday night one pitch, they'll start at 7 and end at around midnight, and those same people will turn around 8 o'clock the next morning and play, and then some of them might play in a co-ed on Sunday. They're booked all the time.
That's true with, also in the spring with basketball. Chris Hooper used to put on teams and have tournaments in Manchester and Tullahoma, and at times he'd have between 90 and 120 teams.
Basketball would also be one of my topics, however, I didn't know how much y'all wanted to hear me talk, because basketball, I know one organization here has 15 teams, youth teams for basketball, and they have nowhere to practice other than Westwood Elementary and Westwood Middle School. They can get into the county schools, however, they have to pay hourly to practice there, whereas the city doesn't charge to practice. And I know that is another issue, because like anything else, travel sports, you're already paying a lot of money, and to know you're having to pay more money to practice is difficult too. So, there's that, even travel volleyball. Volleyball is also big, and there's so many sports that would benefit from a complex that could, tailor their needs.
Well, this committee's where it all gets started at. I think we need to start out looking at grants first, and
Yeah.
then proceed from there. But I think that's something this committee, we need to look at.
I'd love to propose too that, there's representation from Tullahoma, Manchester, everybody, the different leagues, that could be involved in a conversation like this. I would be happy to help facilitate that if that were something that's you all have interest in. But I think that it is important that everyone, has their input into this for sure.
Would you be willing to come back in a couple of months
I would
and we
absolutely
get something
will.
going maybe? Talk about it more?
Yes, sir. I would be happy to.
Okay. Any more questions, commissioners?
Great presentation.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good.
I think I do remember, that being brought up, similar, consideration for new ball fields and bringing in more tournaments in Tullahoma, for this year. I did hear that somewhere, I think through the recreation department.
Okay.
I have a question for Tim. When you said that was wetlands, is all of that protected wetlands?
Of the May Prairie, yes ma'am, it is. That's why when they widen that road, they'll have to go the right-hand side because of the wetlands and the mitigation of that. And I I know when I drive a bus back in that area, there's part of it state, but it's also, protected
Okay.
lower land in there. And that way, if you were to build on something like that, the cost is gonna be expensive because of the mitigation, the 2-for-1. You have to mitigate every acre you take, you have to donate 2
okay.
acres, to do that. But there's gotta be, with as many big men and women, families who are building here in Coffee County and own land, might be able to hook a donation too.
I mean, I've been trying to call people, and I'm still, you know, I do think
I
that
think
there
if we
are.
had if we had the funding source
Yes.
settled, I think it would be easier for somebody to donate.
Yes, and that's, you know,
And that's where the grant writer.
right,
And I have a note written down about hotel motel taxes. I know it has to be used for tourism, but I don't know how, if you're doing softball tournaments, would that not encompass tourism?
I think-
I don't.
I think it does because
I can think way
the
outside
city,
the box, but
Yeah.
sometimes I get brought back to the box too. So
the city of
I will ask
Manchester,
that.
city of Manchester ties tourism in with their sports.
Someplace, okay. So that's something that I don't know what we do with our hotel motel tax right now. It's not as large as what Manchester gets, but part of that might be able to. And if you see in the future that this would increase, and it would increase the hotel motel tax because of the occupancy. But I'm like him, if you come back in a couple of months, let us talk to the grant writer and see where we can get. And I think if you had money, it would be like the animal control facility. You might have somebody donate.
yeah.
So,
I promise we'll get with Dave next week and we'll have you back.
Okay, absolutely, thank you.
yes, ma'am.
Thank y'all.
Good job, Elena.
Just adjourn, we're gonna meet the full commissioner, if y'all can just meet us there for a couple minutes.
Okay,
Please.
our next thing on our new business is the rescue squad. So we got some more commissioners next door, so we want, if everybody would follow out here, we want to do a presentation with the rescue squad, and then we'll get straight to yours.
What are we doing?
We need to go out here for a presentation. I guess we'll just let this roll.
Are y'all coming back in here?
Yeah, coming right back in here.
Did this presentation get recorded that she just
Yes.
did?
I don't know much about their sports practices or simply
Is everybody coming this way?
I thought,
And his entire presentation was how to increase, the Tullahoma facilities to get more tournaments away from Manchester and into Tullahoma.
Oh my goodness,
Which of
wow.
course I bristled at that,
Right.
living in Manchester.
Right,
And
right.
I just couldn't believe that
Yeah,
was
we
the
don't
gist
have-
of his presentation.
All of the leagues are separate here, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's such a problem, you know, having to separate everything.
Yes.
It's really a problem. Anyway.
Lenny,
They seem interesting.
that was a very good
Thank
presentation.
you.
So, I'm here from the Humane Society, and our inside joke is to get money for animals, we need to teach them to play ball. Because people are much more interested in athletics than they are animals. Until they have a squadron of stray cats in their backyard, and then they get very interested in us.
We do have a lot that like to play sports in the town.
We do.
Yeah, what?
We have a lot. Like to play sports, watch sports.
And like, you were talking about that one league having 15, where you usually have.
The Shayla's
you-
talking.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So then but you've got 3 other.
We got dream team
Do you
like
know
3.
where Sam McAllister's acreage was?
It's out by Bonner.
He probably still do it.
Well, I know, I tried to figure out how to contact him, but I haven't gotten a source yet to reach out, but that's what I wondered too.
End the suspense and tell you what you're talking
I mean,
Oh.
Sally Berry was a friend of his. Sally Berry was a friend of his, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I wondered, you know,
And,
and it's been a while, but, you know, if that was something he was still interested in, for sure.
He probably would, I don't know why, if he was
County
gone once, he
road,
would be.
well, actually, it's a
It would be nice too if you had a
road
grant already
between
prepared.
16
Unless
Mile
somebody's
Road
already
and
bought
Khaki
that.
Ridge Road.
They don't want it.
I know
He
it's
sold
true.
it. Oh,
General area. And I had,
That would be.
some of
Kentucky, I bought an acre, and Cal Turner owned around it.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if you're familiar with Cal Turner,
No, I don't think so.
but he started the Dollar General stores,
Really?
and he landlocked me pretty much. And wouldn't let anything come, I couldn't even guile a light pole in the fence row.
Well, you said something.
And so I had to lay 552 feet of water line to get it there, cause they said they would never do that,
He may have some dirt
never
fields,
come out
but
that
the ones that
way.
we roam were
It's the
dirt,
closest
because
you're
I was
gonna
like,
be.
this
I
feels
said,
different.
"It runs
Hold
right
on."
through fast."
This
I
road.
factory, I know.
See, this road is right in between.
It lasted a year, they run it from the other way.
Really?
That's soccer.
Disconnected mine from where I run it and connected it to the new.
How was that? That's
I
No,
come
no,
home one
no,
day,
this
I
is
said,
the
"What
new
is
one."
this
Okay.
for?"
Really?
Yes.
So you had to do your own
I laid
thing.
500 feet with my grandfather.
But if anything happened, then you were liable for it, right?
Oh,
And
yeah, I
you
mean,
did
I would have,
Because
I
we
could
had
call
a
them.
neighbor
She's like, what do you
that had to do that.
Yeah, I'm like,
It was
okay.
long
I'd rather have my own do it.
road.
I prefer you talk to me.
That was the
Okay,
only
so
way that he could get it
10.
done, was to do it
It had to
himself.
do it myself. And was told it would never come that way.
Mhm.
That that's not the way the new roads are considered, that's not this, that's not that, and that was the end of it. And then he made some sort of deal with that factory for an expansion, and so they run the
Maybe
water
they're dirt, but then the
back
grass
down the
is just
other
dirt.
way.
It might be that, and there's some that do that.
Okay.
And then they took my house
There are
several
some that
years
do
later
that, that
for
have
the new road,
accommodation.
which
There's,
when we got
like,
through with it, they never
Cambridge
needed it,
just
so
did
they
that.
sold
In
it and
Nashville,
built
they
the
just
bank.
turf their
Ah,
outfields and like their
isn't
infields,
that,
dirt.
that is just
So,
remarkable. See,
I've
this,
had dinner like Tennessee.
this little road is.
I mean, it's like
it was
if you-
well
if
close
I
to
mean, yeah,
one
this is,
lake.
this hasn't had any, I mean, it doesn't have proper drainage or anything, so when
I mean,
it's either wet,
there's
it's
water
nice,
all
or it's
around.
dry and it's hard to crop.
And these, well,
So if you have.
it, all
you
the
know,
water
better
these
drainage, it
people
would
have comes from the
Definitely
street.
Mm.
be better.
He dug a well, dry hole, over 300 feet.
Sorry,
So,
sorry about that.
so that's the reason that we're requesting.
The water is you know, so it's,
I mean, you can't do that.
I do
It's
insurance.
not anywhere
Oh, yeah, I do
without
insurance. I work in
Yeah, that's why I moved over here. And then they did the presentation. It
That's what happens when you get here late.
didn't work out.
You get what you get.
Find a good tree for a church tree, and I did well.
You could just say crystal.
Building and a full.
Here's the minutes.
This one over there, Roger.
That's what I did so far.
Okay.
Cholesterol, Michael,
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
I'm a conniver. I scheme like that.
Thank you.
Finally got the
Tim?
holes approved.
Yes, ma'am.
Although I saw a little dog on the internet. I don't know where it was from, but it was Coffee County,
Huh.
adoptable. And I said,
All right, so I'll resume where we was at. We're under
you adopted it yet?
number 6 that was moved up front. Let's get to our review of employee assistance program. Hazel, are you here?
Humane Society.
Yep, yes, ma'am. If you want to come up,
Just move my chair up or move the chair.
You can have this speaker too.
Yeah.
It's so helpful when people speak into the microphone.
Thank you. Okay. Well, I do have some handouts. When I was in the wrong room, I thought, oh my gosh, I didn't do enough. So, the county helped us with $5,000 last year, and it was specifically to spay and neuter cats. I don't know how much you know about the Humane Society, so the back sheet is a little summary about us that the Manchester Times was nice enough to print for me in January. Because we have a lot of programs, we don't just spay and neuter cats. And one thing I thought I should have brought, that I brought separately, this is our spay-neuter application that we mail out to people. We're of the philosophy that if we help you with the finances, it needs to be because you need the help, not just because you would prefer somebody else pay for it. So we do document need. However, on the cats, that's kind of a different story. I'm sure you all know that our shelters are overflowing with dogs. I think the winter wasn't cold enough this year. And because I've never seen such an explosion of puppy litters and kitten litters as we've got this year. It's just terrible. Both the Tullahoma and the Coffee County shelter are like 2 or 3 times as many dogs and puppies as they should have. And the Humane Society took in 2 dogs this week that were pregnant that we hoped maybe we could still spay, and it was too late. But x-rays show one has 10 puppies that are coming and one has 5 puppies that are coming. So, you know, big litters. Now, cats don't have that big of litters, but cats can have 3 a year, and that is a definite problem. So, if you have pets yourself, you know that vet bills have gone through the roof. And we are all volunteer. We don't have any paid staff. And we have muddled along without any funding from the county for a long time. But just a few years ago, vets would neuter a cat for us for $25 or $30. Now it's $75. And then the rabies shot is on top of that. Cats run us about $90 to $100. And if they're pregnant, it's another $25 or $30. And a lot of them are pregnant. So that's why we've come to the county asking for money. And we are hoping that this year you will double our grant to $10,000. I figure we spent about $38,000 in the last 12 months just spaying and neutering cats. And I wanted to just kind of give you a little inkling of what goes on with us. I want to quickly read you what we've done in March to do with cats. Most of our calls are from just an individual that started out feeding 1 or 2 cats. They kind of liked it, you know, it was kind of fun. Then the cat had babies. They still kind of liked it. They didn't call us. Now the kittens, maybe 4 or 5 kittens are 4 or 5 months old, they're getting interested in each other, and people with a brain cell realize what's going to happen to them. That this 7 cats they've got is going to be 21 cats before they know what happened. So they call us for help. Usually they want us to come get them. We can't. We don't have a shelter. We're a foster home-based rescue. Now, if they can, the cats are friendly enough and they can put them in a carrier themselves, we're in good shape. You know, we'll ask them to pay $20 or $30 a cat and we'll pay the rest. But a lot of times these cats have to be trapped. And that's where we really get into trouble. So right now we've got 5 families on a waiting list for us to come trap their cats. Then a really bad situation this month, the Manchester Police Department called us. Coffee County Animal Control and Manchester Animal Control were on site. It was a homeowner. Fortunately for the landlord, they weren't renting, it was their own house, but she had 30 cats in one house. You can imagine the situation. It was a lady in her 60s on disability. There was no way she could have cleaned up after the cats if she had wanted to. We ended up taking in 18 kittens that day, and we're still working on trying to trap the rest of them. And very sadly today, our cat coordinator went by to see what was going on, and the lady is involved in court proceedings. But 2 of the cats had kittens since the last time she was there. So, you know, not being able to do things timely causes extra issues. I'll just leave it at that. Another situation we're dealing with this month is in Lakewood Park out in Beech Grove, and that's very hard for us because that's a long way to travel, you know, to do anything. But this woman also is in her 60s, has no transportation. She's a widow, no money really, just felt sorry for these stray cats and started feeding them. Now a lot of them are pregnant, and we are working on trapping them. Stacy Inn Mobile Home Park, have a call from them this month. They had noticed 2 stray cats running around the park last summer. Now they both had litters. Now these litters are getting bigger. They're breaking into the bottom of the mobile homes and, you know, trying to get warm, messing up the insulation. So they are on our waiting list to be trapped. Taylor Road off Highway 55. An older owner moved away and left 6 outdoor cats. None of them were fixed. Neighbors are trying to feed them. We're trapping them, and we are working on them.
So what do you do with all those when you do that?
Well, if they're friendly and we have the foster homes, we take them into foster care and adopt them out.
But you've got to neuter,
We've
all
got
of
to
them.
neuter them, right. If they're not friendly, it's just trap, neuter, and take them back. But at least that 6 cats won't be 60 cats. And if you don't fix them, it will be. And nobody wants to pay for these cats that aren't theirs. You know, most of
Right.
them can't pay for it, but, you know.
Like you said, when people just leave them.
Right, they just
and
leave them.
somebody else feels sorry for them.
Right, and starts feeding them, exactly. And
you
like
understand.
this Taylor Road thing was so bad, it's because all the neighbors are taking turns feeding these cats. We can't trap them if they're not hungry. So we have to go around and say, please, we're coming out here next Wednesday, please don't feed them, you know, so we have a prayer of trapping them. And trapping is expensive too. The traps that we use are about $200 because after the cat is fixed, you can't just turn them back out. You have to let them recover for 2 or 3 days. So you need a nice trap that opens at both ends so that you can put the food in without the cat escaping. So it is really complicated. Now, I think these were Katrina trailers, maybe. They're across from Animal Health Center on Hillsborough Boulevard, that little row of trailers. They have a real cat problem. One neighbor there says she knows that 4 of them are friendly, and she's agreed to take the friendly ones herself. But they are on our waiting list for ferals to be trapped. The low-income apartments have a problem. I don't think the Manchester apartments know about us, but Tullahoma does. And so the Dorset apartments and the Briarwood apartments especially have a problem with people getting evicted and they leave their pets, their cats to turn them out. And then people dump cats, especially at low-income apartments. Well, a lot of these people don't even have a car. You know, if they could take them, they probably would, but they can't. They don't have any transportation. And then last but not least, this is really sad. An owner died and left 5 cats. The house apparently is still empty and it's near the new Chick-fil-A. And a neighbor lady is feeding the cats and she is even willing to help, you know, pay for the spay-neuter, but they've got to be trapped. So they're on our waiting list. So this was just March. So you see our problem. You see our problem. And my second sheet on this handout, now our fiscal year runs April 1st through March 31st. So this is a year old information. But as you can see, our receipts were $127,000, excuse me, and we spent $145,000. So we went way over. Fortunately, we had enough in our budget to cover it. Sorry. But anyway, I hope this year we're not in the hole, but I don't know. But anyway, we desperately need some financial help. When you have time to read the newspaper article, it does list some of our other donors. I'm happy to say we do get a nice donation from the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee every year. Jack Daniels is very good about donating to us, and we are part of United Way. And those are probably our 3 best consistent donors. And we usually get between $65,000 and $70,000 in public donations every year.
So you're only doing cats.
No, we do cats and dogs.
So what do you do with the dogs? Do you take them?
You know, dogs are adopted a lot better than cats.
Yeah.
We usually get them adopted. Yeah.
So do you have that on a website?
Yes, it's on our
I tried
website
to
and
look
on
'em
our
up.
and on our
I was having a
Facebook.
little trouble.
And our Facebook page, Coffee County Humane Society on Facebook, and coffeehumane.org. But yeah, we have a dog coordinator and a cat coordinator. Our cats are at PetSmart in Tullahoma in the cat room, And Vera Lund is our dog coordinator and does a really good job. We always need fosters, you know, we could take more animals. And when animal control gets overrun, and we can take some dogs from them, we do, you know, but we have to have foster homes to put them in. But anyway,
How many foster homes do you have?
not nearly enough. I'd say maybe 6 for cats and 3 for dogs. And this will really blow y'all's mind. We have 3 ladies that trap almost all the time for the whole county now, and 2 that help part-time.
You've got help in Tullahoma. One of my sisters, she's trapping all the time.
Is she?
She feeds them, and everyone that comes around there, she's got house cat and one or 2 in particular, and she takes good care of them, but she'll feed them, and others will come around for the food, and she tries to trap them, and everyone she can trap, she'll take them and get them spayed. or
Bless
neutered.
her, bless
Yeah,
her.
she does that. She's been doing that for a long time.
Well.
I told her, I don't know, poor thing, she was out had big bags of food last night, you know.
So
And
where-
she doesn't even call us for help.
No, she doesn't, no, she does it all.
She does
She's
it
retired,
herself.
but
Boy, we
she
need
does
more
it all
people
on
like
own,
her.
yeah.
Do you have people who just wanna turn in theirs and say,
Oh,
can't take
yes,
care of 'em?
oh, yes.
Do they come to you? Do they come to the shelter or?
Well, they go to the shelter sometimes, but you know, they just refer them to us because the shelter can't take cats. You know, we
I
have
was
to,
talking about dogs or
Uh,
anything. Anything they wanna get rid of and they say,
yes.
I can't take
A
care of it.
lot of our dogs are owner surrender. Yes, they certainly
Cause I
are.
saw one on the internet
A lot of them are.
about 3 days
Our-
ago.
One of our big problems, you know, when you're an older group, it is hard to get younger people interested. I think they come to the meetings and think, gee, that's a bunch of senior citizens. Do I really want to do that? And one of our
They're too
problems.
busy.
Yeah, that's true. You know, people are really busy with work and their kids. But anyway, we are an older group, and our dog coordinator has a lot of orthopedic issues, and she cannot really handle big dogs. So we're very limited in our ability to take in large dogs. She basically has to keep dogs under 30 pounds to be able to handle them.
So I'm still not clear.
Uh-huh.
When you get those, say it's a big dog or whatever, do you take them down to the shelter?
No.
You're trying to, how do you
Well,
keep 'em?
well,
Where do you
we
keep 'em?
don't accept an owner surrender unless it's a dog that we think we can handle and that we can adopt out. And we don't pick up stray dogs. When people contact
Right.
us and say, you know, there's a stray dog in my
Town-
yard, come get
the
it.
town does that.
Yes, we refer them to animal control to
Yeah,
do that.
control, yeah.
But when the shelter gets overcrowded and they have some dogs they feel are adoptable, they'll call us, and if we can possibly take them, we will.
So, if somebody gives you, or comes up 5 in one day, what do you do with, say they're dogs?
What do we do?
What do you do with 5 dogs?
Well, our dog coordinator, Vera, her husband actually built a kennel, I guess you would call it, behind her carport.
Okay.
And she's got 4 big kennels and dog runs now. So she herself can actually hold 12 to 15 dogs, small dogs now. She can't take big dogs. And then we have 2 or 3 other homes that will take dogs.
Well,
And they-
basically, you would call the animal control on something like that when you're outside dogs.
Well, that's what I was trying to figure out. Apparently not.
Now what?
You tried to get them moved on, adopted, instead of
The
going to
dogs,
the
right,
animal
right,
shelter.
yeah, we have a foster and adoption program for dogs and cats, but we can't take in every
Yeah.
dog or
Right.
cat, you know. But we do try to work with the shelter as much as we can, and, you know, I'm praying that eventually, when we have a new animal control, we will at least have a holding space for emergencies for cats. Because like this hoarder lady with 30, there was no way we could take 30 at one time. We did really good to take 18 kittens in one day. But see, because these cats are running wild and everything, now we're having more, you know.
My sister uses my cage. I got a cage that a trap really that and a cage, and she just called me for it, and she's wanting to use it to take some cats. Got a couple that she needs to get to the
Right.
vet, And she'll take them there and get them spayed or neutered. And
It's-
I couldn't let her borrow my trap because I'm too busy catching raccoons.
And-
Trying to break in my
Well,
house
see,
over there.
see,
I
that's
caught 3
another,
raccoons
that's another problem.
Right in town.
The vets are very busy. You can't just show up with a cat in a trap and say, here, you got to have the appointment ahead of time. You don't know what you're gonna, get, unfortunately. But there's so many cats, we usually, if we've got an appointment, we can usually
Too bad
Fill
there's
it.
not some kind of shot you could just
I
sterilize
know,
it.
it would be great, or
quicker.
even birth control and pet food. I think that is the answer, man. If
Right.
you could buy pet food that kept a cat from dog from ovulating, that would be
illegal now.
great.
I said, that's illegal now, isn't it? Birth control.
So you're asking for $10,000?
We are.
I'm gonna make that motion because what I've heard from you, you're saving the county $10,000.
Amen to that.
We
So I'll
definitely
make the
are.
motion that we forward this on to Budget and Finance, and I would like for you to make the presentation to them for that, because what you just showed me is, if that lady has runs for 5 or 6 dogs and she's willing to keep them over the lifetime of a year, y'all gonna save the county
We do.
$10,000.
We definitely do
I'll
save the
second
county
that.
money.
Okay.
And the only reason I'm just asking for cats is that I was advised, both in the county and in the city of Tullahoma, they do help us with cats, that because there is a dog shelter at both places, that they felt like funding us to help spay neuter cats, since that is the only thing, the county and city are able to do right now, that might be a easier sell. I mean, that's
Okay.
just the truth.
So as everybody here knows, if we go through with this, it comes out of here with a favorable recommendation. It goes to Budget and Finance and they approve it, so.
And then
So-
it goes to the full commission.
So
I know.
Is there, before we get with it, is there any more discussion on this topic on $10,000? Any more questions, any more discussion on it? Not, I'm gonna ask for a motion.
Did.
I'll give you a motion.
Motion by Tim, got a second by Jackie. I just wanted to make sure everybody was, had everything they wanted to say, so. All in favor of that, say aye. Aye. Ayes have it.
We thank you very
Yes, ma'am.
much. And I know I've been long-winded, but I will
No,
say.
ma'am.
Hey,
Well, we
I
have
appreciate all
some
y'all
ways
do.
You did a good job, you sold
So
it.
we can
Okay,
understand.
good. Okay, well, thank you so much.
If the public does what she says, has 5 or 6 runs, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's always hard for cats.
Yes.
Nobody wants it.
Well, I've got a tomcat, he's fixed.
Walmart, a lot of people do.
I know, but we're trying to stop that. You know what happens with those Walmart puppies?
so we,
The people giving them away
Or
tell the
Judy Pugh.
people they've had shots.
all right, move.
Then when they get parvo, they call the Humane Society
Right.
for us to pay for it, and you're looking at $300 or $400.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, I got
I motion,
a
Jackie
puppy.
second.
I got a puppy from Walmart, and I've got it for 14 years.
And it didn't get parvo.
No, I've taken it to the vet all the time. Cost a lot of money to keep a pet up.
All right. Now that we've got that settled, Judy, you wanna come up and go on with yours?
Okay, some of this information you committee members have seen, but Mr. Morris hasn't. So
Okay.
if you'll just give me a little bit of time, I'll go back over this rather quickly.
I know where JE's at,
Okay, that's good.
and I know the people that live down through there.
That's good.
Mhm.
Is this the same handout we had before?
This is, but
Okay.
I just wanted to briefly update you. All of the water on the J.E. Sarton Road is coming from a spring. These are basically the reasons why we are requesting the water. And I presented this to Philip Miller, I presented it to the Water Board, and then to this committee also. So if one person interrupts that flow, then it messes with everybody. John Daniel dug a well, a 300-foot plus, and it was a dry hole. J.E. Sarton Road is surrounded by city water on Kathy Ridge Road, 16th Model Road, and Roberts Ridge Road. These 6 roads were supposedly to receive city water by December of 2020, according to Ashley Kraft, who was our older woman representing our district at that time. And these are the reasons that I gave for requesting city water. They're having to bathe in water, it's not sanitary. The showers or baths have to be scheduled with 1 hour intervals. Toilet tanks are filled with mud, constantly replacing toilet valves, purchasing washing machines and water heaters more often than normally necessary, washing machine lines filled with gravel, only 1 load of laundry per day. This sounds rather trite, but most of the people can't wear white clothing because once it's washed, it's no longer white. All drinking and cooking water must be purchased, and they're frequently having to replace spring water pumps. So, after I talked with Mr. Miller, and he recommended that I take this before the water board, and the water board seemed very favorable in saying that they would approve this request, provided that the county would buy the water pipes. And so then I met with Mayor Judd Matheny, and he seemed to be on board with this, and he said that, yes, the county had the money, and then he wanted me to come and make this presentation. And then, since everything sounded very favorable, I contacted most of the property owners on that road, and I have in hand checks where they were going to pay for the engineering plan. Then Scott St. John went out and looked over the area with Mr. Harris. Now, Mr. Harris is a contractor who has, on his own, said that he would dig the water line. So, of course, he works a lot of times out of town. He's in Columbia today, and that's the reason he's not with me.
Does he live on that road?
Yes, well, he has property on
Okay.
that road. He actually lives up on top of the hill. Yes, sir.
When you mentioned the water board, are you talking about Manchester board?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
I thought
uh-huh.
that's who we
Yes.
talked about.
And, so, Mr. Harris and myself kept trying to call Scott St. John. And we were getting very anxious, and I was just about ready to throw him under the board, onto the bus, because we couldn't get any information from him. He called me this afternoon and said that he had met with Mr. Harris, and then when he got back and I guess talked with the city mayor, her words were absolutely not. I will not approve it. So then I called Mark Messick, who it was the person talking very favorable on the water board. And I told him I had this meeting tonight, and I said, I'm kind of at a quandary. I'm not sure what I need to do at this point. He said, you go ahead and you go to that meeting. We will get that approved. He said, it only takes 4 votes, and I won't say everything that he said, but he said, I butted head with the mayor before, and he said, I can't get you on the April agenda, but I can get you on the May agenda.
Do you know what day that's on
May 7th, I believe. And,
Would that be the alderman meeting?
I'm not
I'd
sure.
say so.
That is the first Tuesday
That's a
in
Tuesday,
May,
yes,
I
ma'am.
think.
Yeah, that's it.
I assume that's what Mark's talking about,
But he,
putting on the city board.
he said, we will get it approved. And, so,
That's
you
where
know.
you'll have to get your 4 votes.
I
Yeah.
suppose, so, but I'm in a little bit of a pickle because I have a cashier's check in the amount of $500 that might expire before this takes place.
Is that for
Cash
Scott's
donor.
study?
That's for Scott Engineering, St. John Engineering. Now, the other checks are personal checks, so they're okay for 6 months.
I guess the thing we're gonna be looking at, I know, Tim, you kinda oversee this rural water, but we're gonna be looking at the length, the measurements, and the cost of the pipe.
Okay, it's 9,000 feet, 1.7 miles. Is the road.
That's the closest point to.
Yeah,
Is that
that's
coming from
Ryan.
16th model?
16th going
Okay,
all
that's
the
where I
way
want you to come,
Kentucky
because
Ridge.
from 16th Model Road, if you come off 16th Model Road, you're gonna go all the way to Kathy Ridge and tie it together?
Well, now, I guess Scott St. John will make that,
Okay. My thing about
Decision.
coming off 16th Model is you would be able to have a 6-inch water line and a water hydrant down there. You would be one of very few people that would have a fire hydrant on a little county road. But if we come off of 16th Model, that's a 6-inch line coming through there, and you would be able to pull a 6-inch down that hill, which would give you more water, more pressure, and you would have a fire hydrant down there. Because if we're gonna do this, we need to do this right.
And we
see,
had a,
I'm not sure, Scott said something about maybe stopping at the foot of the hill, but see, I couldn't get any information, so
Okay.
I don't know.
we had a rural water meeting last night,
Yeah.
and we had a couple of commissioners said they didn't wanna put any more water lines in the ground that weren't 6 inches.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
because that's a long hill.
Yeah, and and even if you didn't go down and cross the creek, even if you stop where Mr. Daniels built his house, because on down through there is just agricultural land. Getting you water, getting all those houses on the right-hand side by the creek, and then his father-in-law lives there, or his father-in-law used to live there, and then I think his sister lives there, or somebody lives there, and then he built a house. So if we could come off of that end and we didn't have to cross the creek, it wouldn't be as expensive. I don't know if they have to be. I know they dead end water lines in different places. With it coming down that hillside, it's gonna have enough pressure on it anyway, correct? I mean, it drops down into.
Coming downhill, it
Yeah.
should be, but
So, and if you got 6 inches,
anytime you go from the Highland Rim, which I'm sure that's on the top of the rim, to the basin,
It
it's
is.
300 feet. So that's usually the way it usually falls at 300 feet.
when you go down into the hollow,
we've talked in the past about pipe. There's a whole lot more to material than
oh, yes, yes.
See, Mayor Matheny called me and asked me after Mr. St. John was there about the linear footage, but we never did get that far,
Okay.
so I don't know.
Has Scott started the study?
The only thing he's done is gone and surveyed. He said he had not actually drawn the plan up yet.
Okay.
So I guess when the city mayor said to him what she did, he kind of held up. I'm supposing that.
it all sounds great, and we'd like to do this, but if you do this, are you setting a precedent so the rest of the county,
May
and you
7th.
go and,
May
we gotta
7th,
pay for all the pipe?
I
Well, we
mean,
have paid for the pipe.
Well, we didn't ever pay for a particular, project.
I think,
We donated
I
so
think-
much,
I think in
pipe.
past y'all have, hadn't you?
Yeah, we paid for the pipe.
Yeah.
well, for pipe, that's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Rural
We
people.
put so much in a pile, and it got used wherever it was needed. We're not talking about a project.
No, but it's one that could be accomplished, and it would be rural money, and these are rural people. And I'm for rural people. That's where I'm from, and I don't have a problem, one, of bringing, I will be at this May 7th meeting, because they need water, and
yeah, because, I mean, it's just a spray.
And there are more. The cruise hauler needs water, but this is one that we can knock off right now. If y'all gonna pay to dig it, it seems crazy for us not to buy the pipe.
Well, that was kind of Philip Miller's. He said, this sounds like a
Yeah.
no-brainer because
and
you've
he
got a
just left.
person to dig.
Well, see, we just lost him.
I know.
He
know.
resigned a week ago, so I don't know who to contact in Manchester. But I will call Mark and them and see what's going on, because we're supposed to be working together.
Well,
We built that water tower out on Blanche Chapel Road. We gave that to them.
Well,
We can't play
Mr.
back and forth.
Mark said, tell the county not to give up on us.
Okay.
That's what he said.
Okay.
So if you don't care, we'll schedule you to come back in May after the meeting.
Okay.
And then
What-
we'll
what
not- then-
date will that-
Well, let's kind of kinda out. We're
You
gonna
don't know
schedule,
yet.
yeah, we'll schedule April, but we'll do the May schedule in April, so. But it'll usually, we'll meet here, we'll probably look at, probably the 21st, probably.
Won't
I'll
we do it
put-
on the 9th? That's 2 days right after that. That way we could move. If we get a good answer, I mean, unless somebody has an
Yeah,
objection.
we can do that, but we'll just have to see. We don't know how, we've got some extra committees going on now, and we're having to share people on different
Back and
committees.
forth.
But we probably can do it the 9th. We'll just have to
Okay, I'll
get,
put mine
tentatively.
with a
Yeah.
question mark.
and I'll put a question mark, and if we have to reschedule, we can, but we can
Okay.
look at that date. Just have to see how other committees run, because I know a lot of these guys are on other stuff, and we won't have enough to have to do it, so. That'd be okay? That sound fair?
I appreciate it
Okay,
very much.
thank you very much.
So to summarize, this anticipation is that at that meeting in Manchester, they will have 4 votes, and they will approve what she's requesting. Is that right?
Mhm. We're,
And
That's
all they're
correct.
talking about is
we're anticipating.
engineering.
Mhm.
Okay.
And she's getting the labor, we're supplying the pipe, and you got the engineering.
Well, I don't guess we've gotten that approved yet.
No, I'm just saying, we're just talking about it. That's what we could be looking
I
at
got a question.
on the 9th.
Who's gonna
Yes,
be
sir.
getting pricing on pipe? That needs to happen pretty quick, doesn't it?
That's correct.
We can get the mayor's office to do that.
6-inch pipe. Uh-huh.
Cause
Dwight,
if you come off Kathy Ridge, you can't do 6-inch.
go ahead, Dwight.
I guess my hang-up is basically what we're talking about. Manchester ends up with nothing in
Mhm.
the cost, and they'll get all the revenue.
But
So-
They get water.
you have to
Yeah,
look
that's
at,
fine.
they have the product.
You hadn't finished.
Go ahead.
There's not a reason we couldn't put, if we're putting up the money, we couldn't get a clawback over time from their revenue and make
Possibility.
this work. Instead of them not paying anything and getting all the revenue, doesn't look right to me.
Right, but that's gonna have to be discussed, that needs to be discussed in the May 7th meeting with the city. That's when that needs to be brought up too then, because that's gonna make them decide whether they wanna do
Well,
it or
what
not.
we did in a lot of cases, not every line paid the same rate. And that can be worked out over time, just like Wayside,
Right,
so that gets amortized and everybody gets what they need.
right.
I just don't think it's fair that we've gone this far and paid for pipe, and now we're gonna turn around and say, okay. we're
Well, we've
gonna-
done that for years, doesn't
Yeah.
mean you gotta do it from now on.
Yeah, but you're
If
getting
you've
into,
got a better way of doing it,
you've got people now who are on the dead end of the stick out there who may not have enough money to pay double the water fees.
I'm not saying necessarily be
But,
Well-
look-
double fees.
but looking at the situation that she has, we got a lot of potentials in between
Mhm.
the tap and where you're at, right? We have potential customers that could be in between there to make it more lucrative.
And then
For
too, I was
Manchester?
thinking,
I mean,
how do you
We
know,
don't
if
have-
we've got
Doesn't help
somebody
the county
volunteer to
pay
dig,
for the cost.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That can be clawed back over time.
that's right.
so you don't have to hire a contractor because I have one.
That makes it a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. When you factor in the cost of the rate,
And like Dwight says, there's more to buying, there's more than buying just pipe, you
Oh,
know?
yes.
You got to put
you
No,
gotta have
gravel or-
valves and everything else.
gravel in the pipe. You can't go back with the old chirp, you know? So, I think this, I mean, we can come back with this probably on the 9th of May and, you know, we'll
Okay.
know a lot more then.
Okay,
My cell phone number is 247-4179.
And one of the biggest
Will you
things
please call me the week before this goes down? I'll have it on my schedule and stuff, just make sure I remember.
a week before May 7th.
Yes, ma'am, because buses will be going crazy that week. We'll have field trips everywhere.
and the biggest thing, Tim's gonna be like the cost of material.
Yeah. But we
Right.
have a robust infrastructure.
Yeah, I just think we need to have a discussion.
Okay, we will. We'll discuss it
And
thoroughly.
I don't believe in the fact that, well, we did it in the past, means we gotta do the same way from now on.
Well, we can,
We can come up with a better way.
we can discuss it for a whole hour on the 9th of May. Sound good? Everybody happy?
Okay,
Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate
ma'am.
it. All righty, let's see. Have we got everybody?
As far as speaking,
Yeah.
I thought I was on the budget for the EAP.
Yeah, you are? Okay, you wanna come up?
Okay, thank you. I thought I was in the other room to begin with.
Review of employee assistance program?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I represent the Family Counseling Center, Middle Tennessee. I'm the program director. I have a few packets of information. I know the hour's getting late. I don't want to tie y'all up.
That's what we're here for.
But I really enjoyed the meeting. And I've learned things about cats and things that I didn't know.
Softball,
More than you
basketball,
wanted.
Softball, basketball,
water
yeah,
lines.
I didn't know he didn't have a football field over there. But anyway, David Pate, this executive director, he sends his apologies because that he is at a vacation with the grandchildren that was meant planned over a year away. So anyway, of course, we've had the program for the last year, and it technically ended at the end of the year, but we couldn't find equipment place. And so we've had difficulty reaching employees in the sheriff's department. And we've still got people that are coming in on their own for counseling that aren't aware that there is a program in the sheriff's department. And so that tells us, you know, that if they don't know they've got it, they haven't heard. And so we've extended at no expense or cost, no further cost, the program for 6 months. We can't find a place to quit, I guess. We have had a sad event in the last year, scheduled to the fire hall to talk with one of the employees in January of 2023, to talk to all the employees. And they called me back and they said that night was kind of a busy night. They had a training that they didn't realize, and they thought that if there'd be too many things on, that maybe that I wouldn't get a good hearing and be able to get across the benefits that we had. And so they moved me to February, and in that interim, the assistant chief, we lost the assistant chief. So I can't help but wonder if they'd known that they had he had known they had the benefits. I've had people come and talk to me quite a bit after these meetings about their particular problems, and I'd hoped that that would have been that I wouldn't have had to meet with his widow and 2 children instead of being able to meet with him. But anyway, so many of the employees, I want you to know, are surprised. The county employees are surprised, and they're very happily surprised that they've got these benefits. They actually said that we're kind of surprised the county thinks, we didn't know that they thought that much of us. A lot of times the first responders, they're in their own world kind of, I guess, and I don't think they really realize that there's a lot of people that think about them. So it's been a very, very good appreciative program.
Hey, this was the assistant chief at North Coffee, right? Okay.
And so I found that any first responder that I had any length of talk with, conversation with, they've got a story. It may go back 10 years, but they've got something that they're still carrying around that's bothering them. And of course, we lose people because of these things. We have new people that come in that can't handle the issues. They haven't got the coping skills yet. They don't have a place to turn. And of course, you know, here we are. We have 24-hour access to counselors. You call the phone. We've got Access Hope. We've got in-session sessions, in-person sessions. We even do it online. A lot of times we have law enforcement. They don't want to come in. They don't want to be seen. They're a little bit concerned, a little bit shy. Some people have the idea that we're after their gun and their badge, which could not be any further from the truth. And so we can do video sessions, phone sessions, internet sessions, and such for people that don't want to come in. And so I don't have the latest numbers, but we've logged over 62 clinical hours with many of these clients, and a lot of them starting recently. So it's ramping up. It's still ramping up. And so once I get the report for this quarter, I expect to see that considerably higher. And since a lot of these have started recently, they're going to be continuing their sessions. They've just come in at the start of their issues and working on that. So we had a slow start because, you know, it's difficult to get people, everybody. We've got a big county. It's hard to meet with everybody. I've chased people in ambulances and such. I said I thought I was a lawyer doing ambulance chasing. But anyway, it's been a little difficult, but it's been very rewarding, and I've learned a lot about first responders. I've got over 70 field hours on the mental health and the emotional health side. So that's more than 132 combined hours that we've got a record of. Like I said, when we get this quarter report, I expect to see it close to double that. Well, I don't think it will double, but I think it was gonna be close. And then, so, we've seen people during this time for PTSD issues, that's a common issue, marriage issues, anger management, we've seen people for that, and these are first responders, general family issues, and actually different addiction issues, and these are in the family for the most part. We've had something like 24 financial counseling sessions. I conduct the counseling sessions myself. I own Eastbrook Financial Services, and I'm, got coaching and certificates and all that, training licenses and stuff. So I hadn't counted all the short follow-up calls or when somebody catches me at a meeting and they get me to the side and ask. I'm just talking about people that called in, we need help. Okay. And they'll catch me at a fire hall or even at Walmart. I've been in, and I don't go to this Walmart much, unfortunately, because I live somewhere else, but I thought, and I just show up at Walmart and hold office down there. These are all financial crisis counseling sessions. We offer financial planning sessions too for people that aren't in crisis if they want us to review things and kind of give them some ideas, things to talk over with their insurance agent or to look at their benefits and such. But these have all been crisis counseling sessions that we've been asked for, and they fall along the issues of divorce, delinquent car payments, addiction issues, financial issues over that, being able to afford treatment, that type of thing, judgments for payment, and even pending home foreclosures. And I've had several questions about the insurance plans and the benefits that the county has, and I actually need to learn more about that. I don't feel like that. I know it's a tough job. I'm not being critical. It's just a tough job to get across to everybody, and I know that because I'm trying to do that. And but I think that they don't know the benefits that they've got. And I think almost in any case, you go to any organization, insurance is complicated, it changes, it's difficult. And so I think that, I'm trying to do my part to help them to understand the county plan, and I probably need to even study more on that. But I do understand co-payments and deductibles and co-insurance and such. So we've not seen any hiring evaluations. We include hiring evaluations in this program as one of the ways that we wanted to try to make it revenue neutral, even positive. This whole program costs something like a mid-level employee for the entire county. And so we've not seen that. Now, I've tried to contact HR. I've not got numbers out of HR. Tried to call the sheriff's department, try to get numbers out of how many people have been hired. And I don't know how many people have been hired because I can't get that information. However, I am aware that they have not used any of the hiring evaluations, and I read the newspaper, and I know in the past that we've had problems with hiring new employees, and even recently that we've had an issue. And so I think that's sad. These evaluations can help you from hiring the wrong person. They're rather remarkable how that they've turned out. It's based on something the Navy started years ago. We have a proprietary version that we use of that. They would send people to school, get them all kinds of degrees, training, they'd have rank, put them in a submarine, and in 2 or 3 months they were nuts. I mean, just couldn't take it. And so rather than trying to use a lot of theories, the Navy worked backwards. And I think that was a genius thing. And they say, what type of person can stay in a submarine? And let's figure out who's successful, and then let's look for that type of person. And so we can tell you for these surveys, a little short test, we can tell you, is this a people person? Are they a task-oriented person? Are they likely to steal from you? Are they likely to cause trouble in the culture issues and such? And are they the type of person that will stay with you? Or are they the type of person that is more likely to change jobs and go from place to place? So if you've got somebody that'll stay with you, of course, that's a better investment. And you might even put them in, think about putting them into training for a leadership position. So I think it's rather sad that we don't have the use of that. But as I said, we've extended the program for 6 months, and that'll get us to July. And if we can go ahead and do that, I think that'd be wonderful. I'd like to get my copy out here and just show you your packet that I've got here, just to go over it quickly. And like I said, I'm sensitive to your time and the importance of what you do here, and I don't want to take away from that. But the one thing I'd like to ask is that, and this is sort of an aside, on the right-hand sheet, you're going to see this, and it's got a barcode on it. And you are people that are well known in the community. If you could put this somewhere that people can see it, you can go to this barcode. You can look at it on your phone. It will take you to a website. You can touch that phone number, and within just a very short time, you can be talking to somebody at Access Hope. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that we'll be working Easter, we work Christmas, took quite a few calls then. In a few minutes, if that's their need, they can talk to a counselor. We can three-way in a call for a counselor in just a minute or two, however long it takes for the phone call to go through. When a call comes in, we do triage. Are they in crisis? Do they need a counselor? Or are they looking for a resource? And if they need a resource, we can refer them to the Pregnancy Crisis Center, for example, or the Legal Aid Association, the society for legal aid, or whatever it might be. So we have a thorough list that we go over and we update from time to time of resources that are in this area. As a matter of fact, there is a community service council, some work on that they're looking at putting together, and they came to us and they're talking to us about using our list and our resources and our communication. We went digital this year in October. I brought in a digital system. And so now, you're familiar probably with Scott Ledoux, this over 911. He's a little jealous of me right now, because if the internet goes down, if the power goes down, if the cell phones go down, Access Hope will not go down. There are 4 regions in the United States, and just like a phone call would roll over from one phone call to the other, calls and communications, anything in that system would roll over from one region to the next to the next. We have digital phones that you can plug in anywhere that you can get an Ethernet connection, and they will find their way back to the center, and they have an identifier. And so I've placed phones in different areas. I have one in my house. I live in Estill Springs. And so we can even route calls to areas away from here and take care of calls away from here. So that's something that we have new this year. We're working on getting texting. We've got that, but there's a new law that went in effect, and we're having trouble getting approved because we're not a commercial enterprise. They want to be able to tie a text now to any business, so that if you get a text that is, a violation of some of the many privacy laws and such, they can tie that back to the business or the organization that did that. But we're working on that. We'll be able to send emergency text. We'll be able to send group text for training, work with our partners, and be able to take text that we could see pop up on our screen 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, within a few seconds, just like you get text, and we can keep a copy of that. Talk about why wellness all around. It's the region's only dual EAP. We work with governments, we work with businesses, work with the employer. So we have the benefits such as the hire right, we have the counseling for businesses, we have the business coaching, we have the business evaluations. So it's quite a bit that we do with the businesses. You'll find over here that we've even got a price sheet on the left side that shows what our rates are and the differences. If you're in the EAP, if you need a emergency or crisis session, say that after an event you want to meet at a fire hall or a police hall, and kind of could do a quick debriefing and have somebody there that they can identify with and know how to follow up. God forbid a school bus wreck or something disastrous that would happen. We provide that, and if you're in the EAP, you get a substantial cut on that. There's a discount to that. As we said, we are a crisis center. We changed things this year. We're trying to expand. If you are familiar with HR now, the HR services, the best practices in mental health and employee care, the focus is upon delivering to providing benefits and not offering benefits. When you offer benefits, that's good, that's great, that's wonderful. It goes as far as it goes, but when you offer benefits, not every employee will take the benefits. And even if they take the benefits, they may not take a family plan. And then they'll have a deductible that they have to reach. And then they've got a co-insurance and a co-payment, and they've got all these things. And if they're in network, they may have to go to Nashville. And during COVID, there was a 6-month wait for people that were in the Blue Cross Blue Shield network to be able to get, to see somebody. And you can have a divorce in 6 months, a simple divorce, or you can have a child commit suicide or anything like that. That can happen this afternoon. And so it's very important to be able to bring this local to where people know the community. We know the community, we know the resources, we know the people, and we're available. Now, like I said, you can call Access Hope 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you call and the counselor in a crisis and you want to meet somebody face to face and the center is closed, we'll see you the next day. We'll figure out a way to get you in face to face so you can get face to face. If it's the same day, we'll try to work around. We don't have regular hours. We leave when we're through, and sometimes we're never through, we take it home. and so they refer the phone calls to me. And I'm the last on the line. So to show you what we've done, we've made some changes here. And this little sheet here that you can see, wellness all around the top, and it talks about the dual EAP summary for 2024. And along that line of being able to provide services, resources, and benefits over the older model of offering services and such, we've expanded services, we've lowered prices, and we've added billing options. So beforehand, we used to work for contract for a year. We have a way now to bill people for a monthly payment. That makes it more feasible, so they can add and subtract employees without any trouble that way on a monthly basis there. We've added a few services. We've still kept our household benefit. So it doesn't matter if you've got a first responder, where it's a sheriff's deputy, a 911 operator, whoever it is, and they've got a boyfriend or a girlfriend that's living there, and they've got children that's there, the child on the couch, the grandmother, whoever it is, they're covered with all of these benefits that we do. The employee at work is the one that goes home with the problems. And when they go home to problems, they're the one that carries that to work. And so we see that it's necessary. And when we have traumatic events, it's like dropping a stone in the water and the ripples go out. And the sooner we can catch that, that's one reason it's so quick. And we've got a paper, if you're interested in it, that I did personally, actually, about how to stop PTSD from developing and getting worse. If you can diffuse that quickly with that person, get them on a track to recovery, and then at the same time, you have stopped them from talking to other people, having trouble, coming home troubled and all that, and it's spreading like a virus to the family, kindly. You are so much further ahead in stopping that PTSD issue from going on and on. I've talked to first responders that we've got in this county that they've got issues from things that happened a decade ago. And you're encouraging them. We have to win people's trust. It's a little bit difficult. So as we go on, we've got the four things basically that we're offering. The first is the Family Counseling Center offers the counseling that we've talked about. It's 6 sessions for anyone in the household, anyone that's living at that roof, under that roof. If you got a 2-year-old child, you still get 6 sessions for that child. It's probably not going to make appointments, so you can use it for marriage counseling, those 6 sessions, or whatever you need for that household. We have 2 financial crisis or planning sessions for each adult. And if these are not enough, you can continue with the same counselor at our deepest discounted rate. And we don't try to publish it, but just like we've added 6 months to this program without charge to the county, because we need it, we see we need it. It takes us time to be able to report to you. We don't turn people away. We're a nonprofit Christian organization. We do not push Christian values on people, but we live by Christian values. We see people, we don't judge them, we meet them where they are, we treat them like we want to be treated. And in over 25 years of service, nobody's complained because we use those Christian values when we treat people. And so you've got this in addition with additional sessions. We also do things at a discount if they need some other things that are not covered, such as anger management. We do court-ordered anger management. We do addiction studies as far as evaluations and such. So there's a lot that we do. Teledoc, you may be familiar with Teledoc. It's general medicine. This is flexible. You can pick whatever you want. The pricing is individual. We've tried to make it as easy as it's possible for people to meet the need with the resource and also their budget. The version of Teledoc we have does not have a co-payment, doesn't have a deductible, it doesn't have a co-insurance. The employee calls them up and they talk to them, and that's it. These prescription writing doctors that are in our local area, they're licensed in Tennessee, the ones that we get through Tennessee. And they're so good that it's amazing. My wife is addicted to them, I think. She'll call them up, she maybe have a sinus infection or something, and I'll say, well, you generally get that filled at Walmart. Which Walmart do you want to get? Because she alternates back and forth between 2 Walmarts. And we had a family not long ago that was down at Disneyland, and they had, or at Florida, Disneyland, Disney World, whichever one is. And they actually said, when they confirm your address, they ask if you're at home or if you're traveling, because they want to get you a doctor that's licensed in that area to be able to write the prescription. And they say, well, now, if you're at this particular place, now there's a Kroger in 3 miles, there is a Walgreens in 2, or where would you like to have that call? So they're very good. They're the leading people. Frisk, the Senator Frisk, he was one of the board members when they first set this up. And of course, he was a doctor, and he's very stickler about getting a lot of this started that we've got today. So there's no pay on this. Now, I realize that I don't know what you've got now, and I need to study on it, but in the past you have had telemedicine in your plan, but there is a fee for that. There has been a fee for that, and they can vary. I've seen fees vary from $25 to $50. A lot of times you'll call whatever telemedicine you've got, and they'll say that does not reach our level of care. Looks like an allergy. Go take Benadryl. Call us in a day or two. If it doesn't cure up, we'll give you a prescription for something. And so if you're on the other end of that and you've spent $25 to $50 for a phone call that told you to go get Benadryl, you'll never call those people again. You say, that's the best thing I should do is just take that money and go to urgent care or something. And so to get out of the single digits for utilization, you have to be able to offer a plan where that there is no charge for them to call for the employee. And this also covers the family. So like I said, anybody under the family, they can pick up the phone. We encourage people to call before they need it because just like when you go to the doctor, they've got a clipboard, they want your address and name, previous conditions. It takes a minute or two to get that done, and then once that's done, it's easy to call in, be in and out, get the service, talk to somebody quickly. We added this year Script Saver. What do you do when you get the prescription and you don't have the money to go get the medicine? Script Saver is a prescription drug service, and it's run by Script Saver, and they're an old-time pharmacy. They're a warehouse. They have a warehouse in Ohio. They've been doing this for years. They've offered this service about 5 years ago where that they do this, and we really checked them out. They've got over 800 prescription drugs. If you're in this program, pay the monthly fee, which covers over 92% of all prescriptions that are available at over 62,000 participating pharmacies, your Walgreens, your Walmarts, all your drugstores. At no cost to the employee, over 800 prescriptions. And I think that's just amazing. So they can take that and get that. Now, they'll give a 27-day supply at one time. They've got mail order that will continue to send. There's no limit on the medications. It's just that you go in and you can pick up to almost a month of something. But after that, they encourage you to get it by mail because it's cheaper than them. So if you're on a blood pressure medicine or anything like that, you can get that by mail, and that's a regular thing. They've got a great diabetic free starter kit with, if you come in with the test strips, a new meter and what have you, it doesn't cost anything to the diabetic employee. And they've right now, things are subject to change, but right now, common insulin, what we call everyday insulin, is currently available at the lowest cost nationally. So there are a few medicines that aren't covered free, but they all get deep discounts. And when we did this, I did my due diligence, and I was impressed. And even things in certain pharmacies and stuff, you can go in with your card, and you can get discounts on bandages or first aid cream or whatever you get. So it's a very good benefit. We've talked a little bit about Hire Right. The hiring evaluations is one of the greatest things that we've got. But also, we work with businesses, we work with groups and organizations. We do management by agreement. Either you're trying to manage your employees in agreement or try to manage them out of agreement, which is not very good. So we sit down, we work out agreements and contracts and such. I personally merged the production from Empire Pencil Company, the old Empire Pencil Company, and Faber-Castell. I did that myself. Newell Corporation bought us both out. They've been competitors since the Civil War. During the Civil War, they fought for over cedar fence posts to make pencils for government contracts. I mean, I went over there, I thought they was gonna hang me before I could get a few words out. But he used management by agreement and was able to, go in and say, I think, we can agree that there's a few things. I need a paycheck, y'all need a paycheck, I got a family, you got a family. And I said, we can agree that we've got a job to do. Because if we don't do this job, the company won't get the money to be able to pay us. And so people agreed. And so I took a stack of blank paper, just a copy paper, and passed it out and had people fill out their jobs, what they thought their jobs were and what they needed. And we met on them one-on-one, and we agreed on things. And then so once you agree on things, then you don't have a problem. There's things the company needed to provide for them and things that they needed to do for the company. When an issue came up, it was all in writing. It was very good. You can sit down there and say, we've got a problem here. Have we failed to provide you what you need? I have had over 1,000 employees work for me at one particular time. I've worked for 22 years in manufacturing, one way or the other. Had people under me or I was over there, however you want to look at it. I don't look at it that way. I don't feel like I've ever fired anybody because of management by agreement. It's like after several talks, and we've come down to this, it's like, I'm sorry, you don't wanna work here anymore because this is our agreement. And it helps you when that you have got issues with HR. So that is pretty much it. We've got a pricing list here. Like I said, we've tried to make it simple. We are getting so many more requests right now. We've got requests now for quotes from North Carolina and Florida right now that I'm working on. And so on the pricing sheet, you can just simply figure out how many employees you want to cover. You sit down, if you want the family counseling center, it's $15 a month. And you get that behavioral health, financial counseling, all the things that go with that. If you want Teladoc, that's $10 a month. I don't think you're gonna beat $10 a month for Teladoc that covers the entire family without a deductible. We're a nonprofit, we're trying to administer this program, we're not trying to profit over it. Script Saver, you can understand there's a lot of money that's involved in prescriptions and such, the delivery and things, the network. So it is $15 a month, but I'm telling you that there's no limit for the employee. They keep going back, they got 3 medicines, they got 4 medicines. You know, for some people, that's gonna be a tremendous benefit. If they've got diabetes, it certainly will. And then so if you want to bundle it, we give you a further discount. And so like family counseling and Teladoc would be $23 a month, so you get a break there. If family counseling, just a script saver, would be $29. If you want to pick up all 3 services so that we call this program Wellness All Around. We want to take care of the mental and behavioral problems, the issues and such, counseling issues. We want to take care of their day-to-day prescription needs, the writing of those through the doctors, through Teladoc, and be able to pick up that prescription. That's $36 a month. This program will offload utilization if it's used and engaged, and I get to talk to people. It'll offload utilization from your current plan. And utilization is one of the things that's considered when it comes time for renewal. So I know I've thrown a lot out there, but that's where we are.
So is Coffee County trying you right now, or are we in a contract with you?
You're in a contract that ended actually
In April,
first of the year.
okay.
Does it cover any of this?
It covers the counseling.
That's what I
part of it.
thought. That's
the
all in
contract
this
that you have
contract.
right now.
How many employees was it covering?
It was 247 or something like that, I forget. I know you've hired and you've let people go. I've had that, I know in the departments, they've told me, I can't get numbers on people. And I'd like to have those numbers. But there's like 148 that they quoted me was for the sheriff's department alone. You know, you've got the rescue squad, you've got the fire halls, you've got Homeland Security. So those first responders, 911,
So are we covering every county employee or just first
you're
responders?
just covering those first responders.
First
currently.
responders, okay.
And like I said, we have.
And the only thing we're doing right now is the family counseling.
Family counseling, and we
All right.
extended that to 6 months at no extra
Okay.
charge.
I
We
think
don't
you
feel like
just
it's been
said,
fair. We've not been able to reach these people.
The responders are about half the employees, I think.
Yes. But does the hire right, are we doing the hire right now, or are you just offering
You
that?
have, I forget, 6 or 8 hire rights that were in the quote and that you were in the contract
Okay.
for, and that none have been used.
Okay,
And we would continue like that for another 6 months. If you want to use them in the next 6 months, you're very welcome to do that. We haven't had that expense, and we quoted that.
okay.
And so we're trying to be as fair as we know how.
So that'd be Heather.
And we've gone to this more flexible and monthly employee. We've had people complain, well, it's hard for me to add and subtract. We may have fewer people. So, you know, they can add and subtract by the month. And they can pay by the month if they want. And if they want a annual quote, if they'll give me the number of people, we'll figure out what it would cost. We give you a discount on it. I don't know how else to be any fair about that.
All right, so as of right now, about 60 employees have used your services.
Around 30 probably, I'm gonna say, as far as my first report, because some of them have their second session,
Okay,
okay? And I'm just kinda guessing right there. They won't give me a whole lot of information because of HIPAA. They're kinda scared on HIPAA as far as but the categories and such and things like that, they've okayed for me to break down.
Well, does this committee want to make a move on this, or we want to discuss this further and maybe address it?
I guess, myself.
Okay.
Yeah.
wanna come,
It's a
we,
lot to think about.
yeah, do we wanna discuss it now, then come back on maybe next month's meeting, discuss it more when we find out more facts about it and more information, what's going on with it, so we all know more?
Have my phone number, if you've got any questions in interim, it's in here on the card
Okay.
to write, and I'd be glad to.
So everybody in the ambulance authority, the rescue squad,
Rescue squad,
all the volunteer fire
the volunteer
departments.
fire department, that was
911,
discussed, that they
number
weren't coming to the meetings so much and what have you, and they wanted to give them a benefit if they would do that, and it was presented to the volunteer fire department that if they would come to the meetings, that they would participate in these benefits.
Okay. Those are several people I can call and talk to.
Alright,
I've been to chili suppers and pancake breakfasts, and
alright. Someone wanna make a motion, we'll discuss this through this next 30 days, and then next month we'll, try to address it maybe, within the next 30 days.
I think if we just put it on the agenda for the next meeting and everybody can study and I mean, I can send it out to an email who I talk to and everything, if that's all right with everybody else. If I
Well,
talk to
what we
people.
talked about on the full commission was we wanted to see some results on the initial rollout to see if people are gonna participate.
Alright.
And we really need that
Yeah.
information to find out.
So you're not getting information back from us or?
I'm not getting information from HR or the sheriff's department.
Okay.
And I've not been able to meet in meetings with the sheriff's deputies and jail people and
But
such.
I mean, it's private information, the
Yeah.
EAP program, so
Right.
I can see how that is,
Yeah, the HIPAA law's
there's
gonna
no
protect
way
that.
for
Well-
you to get that back.
We have, the sheriff's here. Sheriff, you wanna address this?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
If you would,
I'll-
if you would
I'll
come up,
let you-
and get your mic there, make sure it's turned on.
Or this one is.
Thank you. And, I've been listening since this presentation has come about, and I just want to say that this is a good program from the people that I know that have responded to me, that have used it. We've had elected officials in the past use it. We've had employees use it. I have recommended, I know one referral myself, employee use it. But the problem I have is the presentation by these people upon myself and HR. And it turned me off because I had a very lengthy conversation. I don't know if it was with you or somebody else. I am not, nor is this county, going to give you all of our employees' personal information. It's not going to happen. You're not going to get our social security numbers.
No, we're not asking for that.
Well, you did.
No.
Yes, you did.
No, sir.
I have you recorded wanting
I wanna
all of
hear
that
it,
information,
'cause I've got the
sir.
records myself of every employee that we have signed up.
Well,
that
but
signed.
you also forced upon me in our lengthy conversation that you were going to get this and you were going to do this and you were going to do that. Sir, this was a voluntary service. It's no different if I want dental care or eye care or life insurance care in my insurance policy.
But it is.
It's what?
It is. It's different.
It's
This-
not mandatory.
No, it's a paid for benefit.
Sir, I'm going to repeat to you,
Okay.
you're not going to force my deputy sheriffs or any of my employees to see you if they don't want to see you,
We've not
sir.
asked for that. I asked.
And the
I was-
HR,
you
and
told
what
me-
is your answer from HR? You tell me what Miss Shelton told you.
I'm not getting any answer.
And there's a reason behind that, sir. You are not going to get all that information that you demand.
I do not demand it.
Well, you're not going to get it.
You told
no
me
matter
I
what.
could come back to the break room.
No.
I just wanted to sit in a break room.
Not under the circumstances, I'm not going to jeopardize some young person.
There is a misunderstanding here because we wouldn't want a social
There is a
security number.
big
We
misunderstanding,
would
sir.
not want a social security number.
Large
HR
understanding.
wanted us to get a sign-off sheet. They sent us a sign-off sheet.
You wanted all of my employees' information.
We wanted a sign-off sheet like a meeting. It's typically when a group comes to a meeting, we have a sign-off sheet on who attends. Government does that, businesses do that.
Sir,
That's an
listen, this is the presentation that was put forth to us when I was sitting in that room over there when you and Gary Cordell started this, okay? That this was going to be a $50,000 a year trial if you need help, we're going to give your company or whatever you are $50,000 of the taxpayers' money, and we're going to do this. If something happens, whether it's really a good financial services, probably services I need after I get done with this meeting, that our employees voluntarily could come see you or your services if needed. And then the next thing I know, we're easing into basically a full-blown HR situation with everybody's names and all this information.
If you have a problem with the sheet, take it up with
And
HR,
I want to know about this
because they gave it to us.
this employment evaluation sheet.
Right?
What business is it of yours, of who I hire and how I hire them? What business is it of yours? Tell me, the elected official of this county, what business it is for me to turn over a sheet to you that is a non-government business, a non-employee of this county, information. I don't even turn that into this county building, sir. Nor will I ever.
We're under HWR rules. We do not recommend.
But you're not even part of government. You are a 501c non-for-profit organization. I might as well gather all this information
Well, I
and
mean-
put it in junk mailboxes.
Do you not use an evaluation?
I have employee evaluations every year, but it's none of your
But I'm
business.
just asking, you don't use an organization for employee evaluation?
Yes, sir. I've got you wouldn't believe the scrutiny that my department has to come on, not only by federal
So
law
it's-
but state law.
It's a third-party evaluation?
No, I don't need no third party. I am the responsible party, not you.
And you're qualified, you're licensed and qualified?
It doesn't matter. The voters of this county put me in that office to do the hiring and the firing, sir, not you.
Well, we don't recommend hiring.
What are you going to do with it?
We tell people.
What are you going to tell this body what you're going to do with it?
We tell people if this is a personality profile that is likely
Mm-hmm.
to stay with the company.
You're going to tell me I've got somebody that don't need to be hired, then you're going to come up here and stir the pot with it.
I am not.
Well, then what else? What's the point of doing
This
it?
makes no difference to me whatsoever personally.
You don't need it.
We're here.
You don't need it. We're going to send the folks to you. If this body votes to do it, your packet will be in the employee's packet. After that, that's the end
I
of
think
it.
we know that locally there have been many lawsuits over hiring an employee.
That's not your problem.
And we're offering a solution.
Sir, I get where you're coming from. It's the angle
We're
you're
offering
approaching
a
this
tool
is not
to
good
you.
with me at all.
So if you don't want to do the hiring, don't do it. Don't do the hiring.
You're not getting that information, and I'm going to buck this body if there is a 1 iota of a policy passed dealing with that. You talking about a lawsuit? I'm not one of those to sue. I will sue you from here to China and this county body if that comes about.
We are comfortable with the legal ground we're on.
And that
This
tells
is not
me
the
that
only
is
organization
that
that
is
we've
so
dealt with.
over, sir, and members of this board. This is over the top, folks. This is over the top. Not ever in any situation have I ever dealt with, even on the state level, being the chairman of the Tennessee Post Commission, appointed by the great governor of this state, have I ever dealt with anything like this in 6 years.
I'm willing to come back to the meeting.
The free
next
part
meeting.
you haven't done.
I'm not talking about the free part. You look at the depth of it. The service, they got it, but it's the intrusion of privacy upon our employees.
If you use the hiring evaluation, it's a non-employee, it's a screening process.
You're trying to dictate. You're
not
trying to
dictating
dictate
anything.
policy to this board. Matter of fact, we have a policy and procedures committee here.
We're not dictating anything.
I think you just said you were going that they were wanting that information.
No. If you've got a problem with the information they requested us to gather, you talk to Heather Shelton at HR. She gave me the sheet. And I have the sheets. I'd be willing to present them here at the next meeting.
You're getting hiring sheets from our county HR.
I am getting people that sign and some of them that wanted to put a contact number. if they
For
wanted
your
to put contact-
services that volunteered for.
HR. You realize that the county's HR records are very, very sporadic. And they thought this
For
would
good
be-
reason.
This would be a good
This
opportunity
answered that question tonight for
be
good
able
reason.
to get a phone number. But
Because
I'm
you know
bringing in to
what,
speak for this.
ladies and gentlemen, I have no idea who's going to walk in this building tomorrow from some Joe Blow Schmo organization that walks in here and grabs my employees' information and sensitive information. We know nothing about it. Have we asked who's on this board of directors? Do we know who's on there and what they do and where they come from? Have we vetted that? No, we have not. It got force fed on us in the very last budget and finance meeting by the outgoing mayor. Wham bam, Mr. Miller, you remember that night? You were on the committee, and I had problems with it that night. We have services for law enforcement, and we have good services. And also my law enforcement officers, if there is a mental health situation, I have got to know about it by law. Now, if somebody goes privately to see these good folks, that's fine. I can't do nothing about it. But if I've got somebody that's suicidal or homicidal, I've got an issue because they towed a gun. And I've got state law to deal with that.
Report for harm to self and others.
I
It's a Tennessee law.
understand that, but we have services, and I want it known on camera tonight that we have services for our people in law enforcement, not only for Coffee County, but for Manchester, Tullahoma, and every law enforcement agency in this state. There's over 400 of them. We have those services, and those are professionals that know how to debrief law enforcement officers. I don't know these people.
Sir, the fire department does.
You can do whatever you want with the fire department. You can
They
do
have
whatever you want with the
similar
volunteers. I don't know them, but for full-time county paid employees that work under me is a different situation. And
Okay,
it's a sensitive topic,
If you
Mr.
guys,
Chairman.
if you guys, we've had good discussion on this, sir. If you'd like to have one final rebuttal, we'll discuss this throughout the month and maybe next
Okay.
month address it.
Well, I'd like to offer to bring the records that I have of the employees that they have just, like a sign-in sheet, that we know that we've reached them. Without knowing who we've talked to, it's a little bit difficult to be sure that you've reached everybody. We certainly want people to know that they have these services and have a 24-hour access to a counselor. So if it would please the committee, I'd bring those records, and you can see they do not violate HIPAA. It's a form I got from Heather Shelton for HR.
Was that satisfactory to the committee for him to bring that and show it to you? And let's discuss this
I
further.
I don't think that ought to be made public with somebody signing in. And I know it's just getting the information. I know it is, but it can be misconstrued by people. If you look today, our society's not like what it used to be.
Well, sure.
And,
Well, I mean,
and if somebody's name's on there, I think it ought to be, even if they just got the packet, because that's what you're saying.
that's right.
That sign-in sheet is just for the packet. I don't think that ought to be disseminated to us. I think that we can go ask Heather questions. I don't want to see who picked up the
Okay.
packet. I think it's like Chad said. It is a good service. This is my first experience with it. I'm 2 years in now almost, so I didn't know anything about this.
Well,
about it being offered.
What if we put these records in her hands?
I'm comfortable just going talking with her because I'm on policy and procedures with her.
Okay.
I'm comfortable talking to her, very comfortable with that.
May I say something? I work for a corporation, and we have an employee assistance program. At the beginning of the new insurance cycle, we're told about everything that is available to us, and one is definitely employee assistance program. Nobody, you really don't think about it until you need it, but no one comes, knocking on my door telling me that, hey, we've got this. I know that, but it is presented to us as employees, so everyone knows about it. So I would think that Heather, is she over HR?
Yes.
Okay, Heather could somehow, and she probably does, make sure that everyone gets their health insurance packet and they know what is in there. So that's kind of all I want to say about that. I know you want
Yeah.
to make
And
sure.
one thing that could be done.
Well, we're under contract.
Yeah, and one thing that could be done though is you can do a mass mailing. You would have every employee through HR. You would not be getting phone numbers, you would be getting addresses, and you can mail out what you provide. Would that,
So you would provide me with what I've asked them for?
Yeah, he's not getting that. That's what he's
okay,
asking
just,
for.
just the addresses is all you want? Because
Yeah.
I don't think giving out phone numbers, because that starts all robocall, and I'm not saying you,
Yeah.
but that can be given away and then robocall stop. Let me do some talking to
Yeah.
the fire chiefs, because with them,
Right,
with
sure.
them, and we talk to
Well-
the chiefs, and I'll have you an answer by next time.
They asked for this, first of all,
Yes.
we were under contract
Yeah, I understand.
to meet with the people,
Yes,
each person.
I understand.
And so I'm trying to fulfill.
Kroger did this 40 years ago.
And then secondly, is that I talked to HR, Heather, that this is a great opportunity, they thought, for no cost for you to update your records, and they said your records are just very sporadic. And so, that's why we've
And
done
I'd like to hear what she says.
But we don't have any, I mean, that's, if that is the burden that's standing between us, is that we've got a sign-in sheet. We don't wanna keep that from having
Okay, I understand.
another suicide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, we appreciate you being here. Let's wind this up, and I think we've had a busy night, so I'd entertain a motion to adjourn this thing.
So moved.
Motion by Jackie Duncan, second by who?
Second.
Got a second right here? All in favor?
Heroes. I think Tim did, but whatever. Either way.
Still don't.
Be safe going home.